All right, we did it, everyone. It is Friday night again. We're a little early, but why not? We got a lot to get into. And Sid, thankfully, we're back. SmackDown didn't suck this week. It wasn't a waste of 2 hours. I knew they wouldn't let me down 2 weeks in a row. I knew they wouldn't do it. SmackDown's back to being a good show again, and we can just take a look at last week and just say, okay, that was the outlier. All right, that's not going to happen all the time.
Yes. It was an off week. Every show has them. Dynamite, which is many people's favorite of the week, they even have them. So SmackDown is able to have them. But this week, they are back to being the best weekly show in the WWE. So that's what we want from them. We want good wrestling. We want angles and storylines that make sense. We want Edge not sounding like a crazy person and sounding likable. And we got that this week. So this is a big plus.
Yes, we did. What is going on, Jose? We're doing all right again. I'm very, very happy that SmackDown didn't suck. What's going on, Philip, as well? I'm going to do my best to get as many comments in as possible tonight and not just sit here and flap my gums like I always do. I may even let Sid actually talk a little bit. First things first, welcome in. Sid, how we doing? I know it's been a long week. You had the Fastlane pre-show earlier on today, SKU and Louis Dangor. You guys did a good job on that. We got a couple extra matches that we can talk about now, so we can kind of make this show an extension. So how you doing this week, man? You doing all right?
I was up earlier in the week. I did Quizzlemania. I hope I didn't let anyone down on Sports Keto Wrestling. I did my best. They said I was the best singer they had on the show, and they've had Aided English on the show. So they called me the best singer that's been on the show. So
okay, hang on. I missed it now. What did you sing?
Well, basically they have a game where they give you a wrestler's name, and you have to perform their song, but they also give you a phrase where you can't say the words to the wrestler's song. You have to say that phrase. So they gave me, the first one was Dusty Rhodes, and the phrase was, I'm so embarrassed. So I hit him with the, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
I get it.
I'm so embarrassed. So yeah.
I got that. That's fun. That's fun. See, I'm not high profile enough to get up on Quizzlemania, at least not yet. That's a goal in life. You beat me there. Me there.
Hey, they have tag team ones. I have a couple of different options. We could do like a whole angle of me choosing which one of my, podcast co-hosts that I want to be tag team partners with, and you could be that.
Yeah, just who to choose. All right, all right. As long as you make the right choice in the end, that's all that truly matters.
You're gonna give me heat with Alex McCarthy. Thank you.
Oh, let's not do that. Alex does great work. I don't want you to have heat with him. If you're gonna have, if you're gonna leave anybody in the dust, leave my dumb ass behind. We do appreciate all 96 people who are in the chat right now. Make sure to get your comments in. Let's dive into it.
Yes.
This was one of those rare episodes where it seems like every single time that something happened, and I would say internally in my mind, okay, now do this, and then they did it, and it happened every single time. And needless to say, I love that when it happens. But let's start off with the opening of the show, which was Sasha and Bianca squabbling again over Reggie. I think the best part of this was that Reggie wasn't there. He was given a spa day. It's like even WWE realized, okay, we're giving this guy too much screen time now. So they just put his photo up and that was it. And then we went right into the women's title match to open the show. I thought it was a fun little match. I actually thought Nia Jax worked really, really well in this. I know she gets a lot of heat, sometimes deservedly so, for her in-ring work. It's not always the absolute best. All right. But this role that she's been on as of late, where she is just this big dominant force and she's chucking people around, the cool new finisher she has with the one-arm modified choke slam. Her in-ring work as of late has been really, really good. I love the spot where she put Sasha in the knee hold, the bar, whatever you want to call that, and then she just smashed her face into the bottom turnbuckle. That was really, really good. I thought these two played really well with each other. And then we got the distraction finish, which I didn't think we really needed, because Sid, this is Sasha Banks we're talking about here, right? For weeks, Reggie has been building her up saying there's no way that Bianca can beat Sasha Banks, even though Sasha lost to Asuka like 19 times in a row over the last summer. There's no way. This is Sasha Banks. She's one of the best. Yet we can't have Sasha Banks beat Nia Jax clean. We can't have that. We have to protect Nia at all costs. My God, they continue to protect her no matter what. I don't think there would have been any shame whatsoever in having Sasha find a way to overcome the odds.
Well, even dating back to, a couple of months ago, Charlotte Flair got injured by Nia Jax and came back and she pinned Shayna Baszler. Like, they just don't want to pin Nia Jax or have her unprotected pin. So that's why we got this finish. But I totally agree with you about the match. I just feel like Sasha Banks seems to have the best chemistry with Nia Jax because she has that type of selling ability that just works with Nia Jax. Because everything Nia Jax does feels real and it feels like she's going to hurt somebody. And Sasha Banks, is able to sell that and make you believe it. And it makes the match, you get more into it. So you're rooting for Sasha to make the comeback and, overcome the odds. You didn't want her to have the distraction finish in the end. You wanted her to overcome the odds because she is the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's the boss. She's the blueprint. She's the standard. Everything that she tells us that she is, and the commentary team tells us we want to see that in the ring, even against Nia Jax. So I totally understand where you're coming from here, but it made sense to me. And I feel like the finish worked because this was the first time that I had any doubt that Shania, I'm going to just call her Shania. Yes. Shania is going to lose on Sunday. This was the first time that I thought that because they created that dissension and it made you believe that Sasha and Bianca, and that's why I had to shout you out on Twitter that your idea would work the best, that they win the Women's Tag Team Championships, Sasha and Bianca on Sunday. They defended on night 2 after they have their main event matchup on night 1 of WrestleMania. Although, yes, I can admit, it does not feel like a WrestleMania main event right now.
No, it really doesn't. And I'm hoping maybe these next, 3 weeks? I think we only have 3 weeks until WrestleMania at this point, that it really kind of starts to ramp up. I don't know how that would happen if they win on Sunday, though, because it's like, all right, well, now you're giving... Because it seems like they're giving Bianca a lot to handle in this buildup. And, you got to add in her match tonight against Shayna Baszler, which was very, very limited. And again, it was teasing dissension among Nia and Shania. And, Nia wasn't out there very long after Shayna cost her the match early on in the night, with that kick. Sidebar, I kind of hope they make that like Shayna's new finisher. You know, like for a while there, like after Nia accidentally knocked out Becky, she was using like the fist, the face breaker punch or whatever it was. I think that would be cool if they just made that punt basically be Shayna's finisher. I think it would work really, really well. And heck, it knocked Nia out, right? So if it knocked Nia out, it's got to be pretty potent. So I would go that route. But Nia not buying Shayna's apology from earlier on in the night, she walks out, and then I was so worried because I hated this matchup at the beginning because you had Bianca and Shayna, and I'm like, I don't want either one of them to lose. Yeah. Because Shayna is so easily beatable now, but Bianca doesn't actually need to lose. She needs to be winning and racking up wins. So actually the disqualification finish was fine here, except here comes Tamina and Natalya, and now they're getting into it. And it's like, okay, now we got a whole lot going on here because you got Natalya and Tamina who are coming after the tag team titles, which is fine. That's what they should be doing. But all of a sudden you have them attacking Bianca and laying Bianca out when she should be focusing on Sasha Banks. And now we have this women's tag team title match on Sunday. Nia and Shayna ain't getting along. I could genuinely see a situation here where Bianca and Sasha do find a way to win, and now they're both feuding with each other and with with Nia and Shayna and Natalya and Tamina heading into WrestleMania, and I can't get these names straight, and it's already making my head spin just trying to figure all this stuff out together. Again, they are taking something that is very, very simple, and they are just throwing roadblocks all over the place for the sake of trying to be unpredictable, and it's clouding everything up is what it is.
Yes, I made this analogy earlier in the day on the Fastlane preview. I've made it on Fightful with the guys over on the Distraction, describing WCW with their Sting Hulk Hogan at Starrcade 1997, where they had themselves a layup. They're right at the rim, and then they decide they're just gonna walk themselves back to the 3-point line. Then they said they're gonna walk themselves to the half court line. And then they said they're going to walk themselves to the other side of the court and then throw it up from there and shoot the ball the last second shot. And that's what WWE is basically doing with Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. They have the first people. Like Louis D'Agora said it best. I was saying women of color in the main event of WrestleMania. No, this would be the first time people of color would be in the main event of WrestleMania, and they are totally dropping the ball. I cannot believe this. Like, I cannot. Even something like Reginald was salvageable. Like, he should have been the catalyst to turn Sasha Banks heel. This whole feud would work and have a jolt of like energy to it and excitement to it if Sasha Banks was heel. But we're just playing around. We're just dipping our toes in the pool. We're having Sasha go to the back and watch the match. She's leaning more towards the heel, but she's not going all the way. They're playing around with Tamina and Natalya. Honestly, I totally forgot about the finish to this match until you started talking about it. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you here. Like, I'm like listening to you. I was like, yeah, that did happen. Like, I totally just thought it was like a roll-up finish, and then it's not worth my memory. That's why I didn't remember. And honestly, going back to Reginald, I know they just wrote it off. He's doing a spa day, but we do know that Reginald does spend time at the WWE PC. We do know he is training to become, a full-time wrestler. I think that Reginald not being here is more about the news that we heard earlier this week with a new outbreak going on in the PC. They did it nicely of brushing it under the rug. And of course, Reginald has been a point of ire to most of our fans. So him being gone for the week, I know, and nobody really was saying where was Reginald. So I thank the person who just commented that. Yep, I thank the
didn't
person.
care whatsoever. Long enough last week. 5 appearances last week between 2 shows. I'm good. I don't need to see him again until after Mania.
You totally wrote it off as, oh, they knew how I felt, so they just took him off TV.
No, see, here's the thing. In today's world, if somebody is abruptly, somebody who's been heavily used, right? If they're abruptly gone for a week or 2 at a time, I just naturally assume it's for a very good reason, and I move on. There's no point to speculate or to try and dig up anything on it. It is what it is. If they decide to announce it, fine. If they don't, cool. But if somebody just happens to be gone or they're doing stuff from their phone at home or this, that, and the other thing to stay on television, I just assume there's a very good reason for it and move on. To be fair, though, yeah, it didn't even hit me that with Reggie tonight, I immediately just dismissed it as, oh, cool. All right. He's out tonight. Sweet. That's it. Didn't even think about it. Didn't care.
And I don't blame anyone who felt that same way.
So again, here, I think there's obviously 2 ways that they could go on Sunday with this women's tag team title match. They can either get Nia and Shayna to get their crap together and find a way to get a win, which would suck because that means either Sasha or Bianca's got to eat another pin 3 weeks out from WrestleMania. Or frankly, they Tamina and Natalya get involved again, and we end up with, so I guess there's really 3 options. The Tamina and Natalya cause a disqualification, which I don't like that option because then this kind of continues and stretches out with Sasha and Bianca and everything going on there. Or Sasha and Bianca win, and we end up with a situation where, yeah, they are fighting each other on night 1 for the SmackDown Women's Championship, which would be the main event. And then, yeah, opening up the show the next night, defending those tag team titles, probably in a triple threat match, or fingers crossed on this one, a fatal 4-way involving the Riot Squad. Can we get them on television, please? They had Liv Morgan doing media this week for a show she wasn't on. Why? That makes no sense.
I
But I
know
think that's where they're going with this. I think somehow Natalya and Tamina are going to get a SmackDown or get a women's tag team title match at WrestleMania. I just don't know who the champion's going to be or how many people are going to be involved.
it's going to be a multi-team type of match, and we kind of saw, the segue in that in like the SmackDown tag team title scene. That's kind of the same thing going on there. But yeah, I think all of our fans have been missing your rants about the Riot Squad. So I'm glad that led to that right there, because that is what the people want. The people want Rick to rant about why Liv Morgan is
They just want me ranting. They just want me pissed off and ranting. That's it. I think my Good, Bad, and Ugly was like the most watched one I had in a few weeks last week, because I was just screaming into a camera for 6 solid minutes. Make sure to check those out, by the way. They come out on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel every Saturday. So I'll take all my rants here and I condense them down into a nice 6-minute package for you all. And sometimes I make jokes that stick too. So there we go.
There you go. This is why Rick is the best. This is why he's the face of Sportskeeda Wrestling.
All right. So bold prediction. Now with everything that's unfolded now, so I know you did the prediction show earlier. Now we got Natalya and Tamina poking around. Does that change how you feel about how this match goes down on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I went with Shayna and Nia to win on Sunday because that just seems was the most likely to happen, the best possibility. But after this show, honestly, yeah, I feel like Bianca and Sasha winning is the better option. That creates more possibilities on the road to WrestleMania, and we could see more stuff going, because I don't believe in WWE just leaving Bianca and Sasha to their own devices, even though I think that's the best option. They don't seem that they want to do that. So them being a team and kind of trying to be on the same page on the road to WrestleMania is the best thing that they have going for them. So continue that story for the next 3 weeks until WrestleMania 37.
Now, Anthony has a great idea here. Could Tamina and Natty be put into the tag team title match this Sunday to make it a triple threat and have neither Sasha or Bianca take the pin? Nia and Shayna could win, or whatever. Natty and Tamina could win by pinning, obviously neither Nia. Let's be honest, it'll be Shayna who eats the pinfall here. So I think that might be your out. That might be the best way possible. If you want to keep the tag titles on Nia and Shayna and have this split play out through WrestleMania, fine, cool. You can beat, no offense to either lady, you can beat Tamina and Nia or Tamina and Natalya because they're not in the main event of WrestleMania. That's
exactly
fine. That might be the best way to go. As a matter of fact, I hope that's the way that they go and make this a triple threat on Sunday. And then the Riot Squad can just be there to get their one-on-one tag team match at WrestleMania against whoever the champions are. See how that works?
Everything works out for Rick. But yeah, I feel that might be the best option because, yeah, I think no one's been able to figure out what's going to happen in this women's tag team title match because we don't want Bianca and Sasha to take a loss, but we don't see Shayna and Nia really losing the titles. So it's like you're in this conundrum. And that's why Louis Dangor just basically said no contest, because that's the best thing that he had going into this match. That's the best prediction he can give us. And that seems likely at this point, but I am going to stick to my guns and still go for Shayna and Nia to get the victory.
Man, I think I'm going to go no contest unless they have they add Natalya and Tamina into this, and then I'm going to say anybody but either team but Sasha and Bianca, because I just think it would be better if Sasha and Bianca could just focus on themselves for the next 3 weeks. No Reggie, no BS, no women's tag team titles to cloud things up. Just those two and the SmackDown Women's Championship being the focus, because that's what it should be. Make sure to get your comments in. Also, make sure to give us some thumbs up or some angry faces. Apparently, I ticked somebody off earlier. I'm sorry, Michael. I don't know what I said that could have ticked you off. But the more engagement we get, it really helps kind of grow our audience. So make sure to get those in and get as many comments in as you can. So let's move on now to the other main event of WrestleMania, which we don't know what it's going to be yet, but we do know Edge is going to be involved. And Edge did cut a backstage promo tonight. It was a good one.
Yeah,
I thought it It worked on its own. Standalone, everything that he said tonight was fine. Compared to what he said last week, this week it made absolutely no sense again. Because why all of a sudden would Edge care whether Daniel Bryan gets a fair shake at Fastlane when last week he was bitching about Daniel having the opportunity in the first place? Now he's all about, well, I want to make sure he gets his fair shake, and I don't care that he hit me with the running knee because that's exactly what I would have done. Well, hold on, pump the brakes. Weren't you just saying Daniel Bryan's better than all that last week and he shouldn't be doing that? So again, just this, it doesn't flow. There's no connection to it. This tonight, it's fine. Let's just take a Back to the Future kind of split. Let's just pretend last week's was some kind of alternate skew in the timeline. Like that's the alternate 1985. And this is what Edge has been this whole time. Let's just pretend and go from here and just say, all right, yeah, Edge has no problem with Daniel Bryan being in this match and he is his friend and wants to make sure that everything just shakes out and is fine, because that's something that I can get behind.
Yeah, I mean, it honestly feels like they retconned what happened last week. Like they totally just, okay, Men in Black, look into this pen and it flashes. You totally forgot that Edge was a complete confused dummy last week to Daniel Bryan. So, hey, I was okay with this. The Edge came off likable. He came off like someone that had integrity, that was honorable. So I enjoyed it. I am willing to forget about that slight, misjudgment that he had in regards to Daniel Bryan. And he didn't realize that Daniel Bryan was taking a page out of his own book, The Ultimate Opportunist. He just forgot who he was last week for a brief moment. But now the Edge that we have grown in love since his return is back with us. Let's be happy.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to think. This is now going to be canon in my mind. I'm just going to pretend that last week Edge was hanging out with New Day and he also had some of Matt Riddle's cookies. All right. That's just what I'm going to pretend. I'm just going to pretend, because we know Edge likes cookies. You know, if you saw after the Royal Rumble, he grabbed a bunch of cookies that he did that interview on After the Bell, right?
Yeah.
That he grabbed a bunch of cookies to scarf him down after the Royal Rumble. So we know he loves cookies. All right. So he grabbed some cookies with the New Day, and that's just what it was. His head was a little cloudy. That's just what I'm going to pretend was going on with Edge. There was a lot of talking on the show tonight. Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns, they had a really good interaction in the middle of the ring. I think this kicked off hour number 2, right around that 9:00 hour. Daniel came out and, just kind of cut a typical Daniel Bryan promo, passionate, says, hey, look, I'm going to earn my shot at WrestleMania. It's the same stuff that we've heard before. But he said he was going to make Roman Reigns tap out. And that was the driving force behind this entire segment, because Reigns literally comes out laughing. He's just laughing at the man, sitting here saying, look, no one has ever made me tap out. You ain't making me tap out. I would rather lose my arm. Bro said he would rather die than tap out to Daniel Bryan. And then Daniel comes back by saying, look, I'm going to break you. I'm going to break your beliefs, and I hope you don't die in the process. Like this, that's a good promo exchange.
Yes.
That works. That gets me hyped up. I almost wanted them to make this a submission match. I really did. I was hoping that's where we go. I think that was like the one time tonight where I said, okay, now do this. And they didn't do it. It didn't necessarily have to be a submission match. But I mean, if you start sitting here saying, hey, I'm going to tap somebody out, it makes me want to see, okay, we know Roman Reigns has that submission now, that guillotine submission. So it's not like this is old Roman Reigns who didn't have a submission. I think that would be a cool matchup to see. But regardless, now I'm just ready to see these two go at it.
And it was the way that, Roman got basically had the referee stoppage at Elimination Chamber using the guillotine as well. And the fact that Daniel Bryan tapped out Jey Uso made him quit, and Roman wasn't able to make Jey Uso quit. So for Daniel Bryan to then the next week come out and say that he's going to make Roman Reigns quit and tap out, it was just like, it hurt Roman Reigns' pride. I think he was already thinking about the line last week that he made Jey Uso quit when he couldn't. So he was irritated even more. So, and his delivery was very much, you saw his cousin. You saw his cousin in the way he was like delivering his lines. It was very Rock-esque in the way he was going.
Yeah.
Like Roman Reigns is like hitting that stride where he is so confident on the mic. He realizes his character. But Daniel Bryan, as someone who has been a Daniel Bryan fan for almost 2 decades, saw him in Hammerstein Ballroom with maybe just 100 other people in the building, single final countdown when this man came down. And he was just popular for his in-ring work. To see him become one of the best promo guys in WWE today it's mind-blowing for me. And this one was just tremendous. And this build up and set the stage for a great story of the match on Sunday of Daniel Bryan, on his quest to make Roman Reigns tap out, to become the first man to make Roman Reigns submit. That's a great story within itself, but the promo work between the two guys just made it even greater, and it makes me more excited for the Fastlane main event.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. There's no way in hell Roman Reigns is tapping out. There's no way that Daniel Bryan is winning the Universal Championship on Sunday, and that's okay. Predictable isn't bad necessarily, all right? It can still be very predictable and still be good, all right? It's not always synonymous with one another that predictable means bad. We knew Kevin Owens was going to lose every single time he went up against Roman Reigns, but each one of those matches, with the exception of the handcuff gaff, was great. All right, everything about those matches was great. They ramped it up a level every time. I know this match is going to be good on Sunday. Like, if there is one thing that I can guarantee out of this pay-per-view, it's this match is going to be good, and Roman Reigns is going to win. And we now know who the special enforcer is going to be. Surprise! Edge didn't lose. Shocker. He did take on Jey Uso in the main event tonight. Jey loses again. Gets main event matches, but he also loses them. I don't think he's won a singles match since November. Did get a couple of pins, though, in Elimination Chamber. That's got to count for something. He did pin 2 people, including Kevin Owens. So that's got to count for something. But, man, I hope there were a lot of people in the back, and I hope there were a lot of like amateur wrestlers and indie wrestlers who are out there who were watching this match tonight. Because Edge, and this is why I'm so glad he's back on television and wrestling again, put on a clinic on how to sell.
Yes.
He got me. I legit thought he was hurt. That first time he went out to the outside and was grabbing his ribs and gasping, I'm like, oh, Dan, don't tell me he's just selling. All right. Because Jay went right there and punched him right back in the ribs. I'm like, okay, it's a work. That's fine. Move on. That's good stuff. Sasha's really good at that kind of stuff too, making me think that she's legit injured when she takes a bump like that. So she's really good at it too. But Edge put on a clinic to sell, and that really made this match work. It was an okay match. I'm not going to sit here and say it was 5-star. It was an absolute banger or anything like that. I think it got overhyped for me because I was so excited that Edge was wrestling on SmackDown again. I felt like when his music hit and he came out, I was like, this ain't 33-year-old me sitting here. It's 15-year-old me, watching SmackDown again. That's what I felt like when he came out. And I was so hyped for this matchup. And then, yeah, it was good. There's nothing wrong with it. It was solid. It was hard hitting. It was good. I think it was a little overhyped for what it was, and that's partly my fault. But it was what it needed to be. Edge won the matchup. Roman Reigns came down, took out both Edge and Daniel Bryan to stand tall to close the show, and I think it was exactly what it needed to be.
Yeah, I thought the main event was good. Jey Uso just continues to step up in the main event matches. He looks very confident now when he's in control of a match, and he's able to make his heat segments as a heel feel like something is going on, because a lot of heels in WWE, when they got the heat on somebody, they just grab a hold and just try to work their way through until the matches end. But Jey Uso makes it like he is beating down his opponent. He works over a body part, and he worked over the ribs here. But like you said, Edge's selling was just excellent in this matchup. Like, he made you believe he was hurt, and he's got down the science. It's a science to this of the Terry Funk reach for the rope sell, where you act like you're just dazed, you're just out of it, your ribs is out, and you just grab for the rope. Like, Edge does that so well, where when he's out on his feet, that type of sell, like, he does that very, very well, and not a lot of wrestlers get it well. And I call out Terry Funk because I consider him the best at it, but Edge did it very well in this matchup. And I really enjoyed the post-match as well, Daniel Bryan was great on commentary. Him getting attacked by Jey Uso like set the stage for Jey Uso to be a component of the matchup on Sunday, and then Roman Reigns standing tall over both men. It either really sets the stage for Roman like having something over Edge to set up Edge getting involved in the match on Sunday. There's a lot of different ways they can go here, but this is like the main thing going on in WWE, and this is the only thing, even though it is the main event for Fastlane, it feels like we are on the road to WrestleMania with this whole story that's going on here, and not everything else on any part of the WWE really feels like that, but this story does. And there's a couple more stories that we haven't talked about on SmackDown right now that feel like they're getting momentum on the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah. Ryan, they should have a triple threat match at WrestleMania 37, Edge versus Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan. You know, the more this storyline progresses and the closer we get to WrestleMania, as much as I just want to see Edge versus Roman Reigns one-on-one, I kind of feel like Daniel Bryan has earned that spot. I feel the same way over on Raw. I kind of want Sheamus to win on Sunday, and we have another triple threat, because I think Sheamus, the work that he's done over the last several months, has earned a spot. He hasn't been winning, but and it's a PG show, so I can't swear, but he has been just killing it in the ring. This has been his best work, period. I mean, just think back to, what was it, October, where he's throwing urine in Jeff Hardy's face, and now look at where he is. What a difference 6 months can make. All right, like this. I talked to Drew McIntyre last year, you know, right after AJ Styles got traded, right? And he was ticked off about that because they thought they were on the same show. They were finally going to wrestle. I asked him, was like, hey, look, who do you want to come over from SmackDown? And at that point, he was like, look, if I can't have AJ Styles, give me Sheamus. Because he knew what these two could do together. And they're working magic. These two can beat the hell out of each other as much as they want. I don't care. I'll watch it every single week. I won't get sick of it. I would love to see Sheamus find his way into the main event against Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre, and that kind of gives him an escape there for Lashley to beat Sheamus again and, you know, kind of save Drew. I know they want Drew to win the title at WrestleMania. I don't think he needs to. And again, I'm getting off on a Raw tangent here, but I wouldn't mind seeing 2 triple threat matches now for the main event titles, just because I think Daniel Bryan and Sheamus are kind of forcing WWE's hand into doing that.
Yeah, and they're doing it in 2 different ways. Like, Sheamus is doing it through his in-ring work and stealing the show on every single Monday Night Raw, while Daniel Bryan, surprisingly, is doing it by his character and his promo work. Like, it's crazy that this is not the guy that I think 5-6 years ago you would say is stealing the road to WrestleMania due to his character or his promo work, but he has gained that momentum right now at the right time, and it just feels like that's the right way to go. Like, I was a person 3-4 weeks ago that I was standing firm that it needed to be Edge versus Roman at WrestleMania. But the more we go down this road, the more I feel that, yes, Edge is going to win at WrestleMania, the more I am like, yes, Daniel Bryan has been the best character in this story over the last couple of weeks, that I'm like, yes, Daniel Bryan deserves to be in this match. Daniel Bryan kind of needs to be in this match. If Edge is going to win in the end, he needs to pin Daniel Bryan. He doesn't need to pin Roman Reigns. And you can get a lot more months out of a feud between Edge and Roman coming out of WrestleMania.
Correct.
And blow it off at SummerSlam.
Yes.
And that feels like a bigger storyline and a feud of the year candidate with Edge and Roman, better than just blowing it off at WrestleMania.
Exactly, because, you know, if Ed, let's just say you keep it Edge and Roman, and then Edge beats Roman, it's like, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
I know Roman would come back and demand a rematch, and maybe you could do this thing where they hotshot the title, but I think there's more meat on the bone, and I think Roman has a bigger axe to grind if he's not the one who lost that championship. And I think you got to keep Roman Reigns as strong as possible. Roman Reigns needs to be booked as strong as Lashley, right? Like, they didn't have Lashley get beat for the United States Championship before they put the WWE title on him. It was John Morrison who ate that pin from Matt Riddle, and they did it for a reason, and we all knew why they were doing it. The second that we saw him backstage with The Miz, we all could connect the dots and see where they were going there. So that worked great. That's how they need to treat Roman Reigns. And yes, if Edge is walking out of WrestleMania as the Universal Champion, I agree. He's got to pin Daniel Bryan. You can continue this feud, and then we get the one-on-one match at SummerSlam. Even though I still want E to be the one that beats Roman Reigns eventually, so I'm kind of torn on that. But Big E's doing great work right now, and we'll get to that. Eric says they could do Jay versus Jimmy Uso. If Jay loses, he's got to, respect Roman, and I think you're getting the brothers mixed up on that one. But that does bring in an interesting element to this: is do we get Jimmy returning at some point? They keep teasing it. Jay told me, and he told several other people that it's imminent. Keep your head on a swivel. Jimmy's coming sooner or later. I think Sunday would be a good way for him to come in, and maybe they screw over Daniel Bryan, and that's how they set it up. Maybe he takes out Jay Uso and thinks he's in the clear, or Edge takes out Jay Uso and they go off and they fight or something, and then here's Jimmy, and we're off to the races.
Yeah, and it could set up a series of matches. You could do like singles matches with Jay versus like Edge again, or Edge versus Jimmy versus Bryan, and then of course the tag team match of Edge and Bryan versus the Usos. We're going to see that on the road to WrestleMania if Jimmy is back. So that would be a very interesting, person to kind of throw in there. And that was something that I thought they would have went through. And another reason why I feel like the triple threat is the best decision is because, we haven't talked about it a lot because I know you were upset about it, Rick, but Christian's not here. So that took away a big part of what I thought this whole story between Edge and Roman. I talked about it with you for the first week we were together. I was like, Christian comes in, you do Edge and Christian versus Usos. Yep. Roman attacks Christian. That's how he gets Edge to choose him. Like, we had the whole story in our heads together.
I'm sure WWE had that story too, because it wasn't hard to put that story together.
No, they did apparently. According to Christian, they did not.
They probably did, but they just didn't want to spend the money to make it happen. That's probably what happened.
And they didn't pitch it to him. So, hey, to each his own. They should have listened to us. They should have watched Smack Talk like you guys do. You get the good analysis.
Jeff Samuel says, if Edge wins the Universal belt, does Edge throw that belt away and bring back Big Gold? I don't think the heavyweight championship belt is ever coming back, but I did see a photo on Twitter this week of the Universal title with, instead of the blue, it was a gold strap, and that looked really sick. I think that would be, if anything, I think Edge would bring back some kind of form of the Rated R Superstar Universal Championship. I think that's what he would do if he does anything. But yeah, I wouldn't mind if they brought back, instead of just changing the strap back and forth from, okay, hey, it's on Raw, so now it's red, and it's on SmackDown, and now it's blue, whenever they do flip brands. I'm telling you, if you guys can go find that, I'm sure it's on Google or anything like that, but that gold Universal Championship belt looks really nice. All right, so that would be a change that I would hope that they would make. We appreciate everybody who stuck around with us so far. We still got a lot to get into. Please get your comments in, get your engagements in as well. We really appreciate it. So let us move on to some of the other big storylines that happened. A lot happened on this show tonight. Seth Rollins, he's back. Suit game, once again on point. I just want, here's the documentary. Forget Sami Zayn's documentary. I want a documentary on Seth Rollins' closet. Like, that's just what I want. I want to see what this closet looks like, how it's set up, where he buys his suits. Like, I would watch an hour of Seth Rollins just putting together his wardrobe. Like, seriously, that's what I would do. I'd do it. I'd watch it. I guarantee you that would get numbers.
It's a complex special within itself. Like, Seth going to the tailor to get the different suits. I've been on the Seth fit game, bandwagon myself, but I wasn't too sure about this suit. It looked like he got dunked in like an airport bathroom toilet. And and they gave him like the flushy like you used to get in high school, and that's how the suit came out. Like, it was a blue suit.
It wasn't that color blue, right? It was navy.
Well, I don't know.
Maybe an airplane bathroom, I guess.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know. Oh man, or a porta john, I guess. But
I don't know. I just
kind of liked it. It was I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the art style that it was, but I did kind of like how it faded from the sleeves and the bottom part into the pants, and it looked like he was a painting, man. I don't know. I just thought it was slick. I liked it. I couldn't pull it off, but he damn sure can. He looks good in whatever the hell he puts on.
This was a suit to get heat. So I'll give him that. He got heat from me for the suit. So he's doing his job, and his promo was good. I enjoyed Seth a lot tonight, and Shinsuke Nakamura coming down to interrupt him to create the match we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks at Fastlane. Fastlane needed desperately another hook to it, and at the last minute they just gave us a show stealer in Seth Rollins versus
that might be, and I know I said Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan is gonna slap. The match of the night might be Nakamura and Rollins. Like, if you just let those two go, like, don't put this breadcrumb out there and then give me some like 3-minute squash match where Nakamura kicks Rollins' ass for like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, and then he like kicks him in the knee and hits the stomp and wins it. No, give me 20 minutes with these guys. You only have like 7 matches on the card somehow, miraculously. And I don't even think we're getting Shane and Braun. Like, I think they're pushing that off to Mania.
Yeah.
So give me these guys for 20 minutes, just beating the crap out of each other. Yes, Rollins is going to win. It doesn't matter. If the match is good, I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. Let Nakamura do what he does best and entertain us. That match, as Reagan says, is going to be great. There's no doubt in my mind that when he showed up tonight, yes, Rollins, calling, Cesaro a failure and the biggest waste of potential and this, that, and the other thing. You could make on SmackDown alone, you could make an entire stable out of and just call them wasted potential, and you could have Cesaro and Aleister Black and Chad Gable and Shinsuke Nakamura, and I don't know, I'm sure there's somebody Murphy and so many other people. That 6-7
the Riot Squad.
The Riot.
I had to throw that in for you.
I quit. Good day. Good day, everybody. Yes, you're right. There's a lot of people that you could throw into a stable and just call it wasted potential. And you know what? They would get booked just like the League of Nations did. So let's not do or you know what? Actually, wait a minute. They've already got this stable on Raw. It's called Retribution.
We're just basically trying to break each other on this episode.
Give us the Survivor Series match that we desperately need. Retribution versus the new stable of wasted potential. Somebody hire me to be a writer, please. I will get numbers. I will give the fans what they want.
You're gonna come up with the theme song based on wasted potential and everything. Like, it could be a rock.
Like a Quizlemania game.
There you go. There you go. Oh man, this is awesome. But yeah, great stuff. Seth, Shinsuke, that's gonna be great on Sunday, and I'm liking how this whole story is going with him mentioning he's a WrestleMania main event. You've basically never had success at WrestleMania. Cesaro's never even had a singles match at WrestleMania, so I like that. This kind of feels similar to the Seth Kevin Owens storyline that they kind of build in the last couple of weeks going into WrestleMania 36. But I think that this match, and in that match at WrestleMania 36 with Owens and Rollins, was one of the best matches of the entire weekend. This one, though, is going to be excellent, as well as Owens. What seems like Owens is going to have a match.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yes,
we'll get there. Trust me, we'll get there. But yeah, I like the fact that not only are we going to get Rollins and Nakamura this Sunday, because that match is going to be awesome, as I've said a billion times already, but this does mean that we are getting Rollins and Cesaro at WrestleMania in a singles match, and I hope they do. That's a very good call on your part, by the way. It is almost exactly built like what they did with Kevin Owens last year. Kevin Owens obviously has had a ton more success than Cesaro has, but yeah, his WrestleMania record was dog butt. All right. And that was everything that Rollins said. Hey, you are on my show. I show up here, you lose. And then unfortunately this match didn't happen in front of fans, and Kevin Owens didn't get to jump off the ship at Raymond James Stadium. Fingers crossed we see that this year. Yeah, so I mean, this is going to be good. This is going to be a great match for Cesaro, a great opportunity for him, and I hope he does come out on top in the end. But I have a feeling I have a feeling Rollins is going to end up winning this one, and it's just going to be more Cesaro gets the match. Or he wins, and then Cesaro is getting that main event push that is rumored. But then again, rumors come and go, don't always come to fruition. We did have a kind of a weird tag team thing. All of a sudden, the SmackDown tag team division is heating up, and we got teams getting wins. We had Street Profits versus the Mysterios, and when this matchup was first announced, I was like, okay, this is different. Let's have a babyface matchup. Why the hell not? Yeah. And it was fun, athletic, fast paced, and then it ended abruptly when Dominic did the Hurricane Rana and Angelo Dawkins went down just like his Ohio State Buckeyes did today. And, and my goodness, like, I'm just sitting there. I'm like, literally, my face was like, didn't expect that to happen. That's an interesting development. Okay. Wouldn't think the Street Profits were going to get pinned. I was expecting them to just kind of breeze their way straight through to another opportunity against the Dirty Dogs, or the Top Dogs, as Michael Cole keeps calling them accidentally or on purpose. I don't know if that's a bit or not. But then the Alpha Academy comes out. There's a bit of a brawl. Gable calls Dominic shorty, which made me laugh. They get their butts kicked. We go to commercial. Then we come back, and it's the Mysterios versus the Alphas. And then the Alphas beat the Mysterios. Aggressive Otis is the best Otis. He hits that big splash on Dominic. They end up getting the win. And now all of a sudden we got teams trading wins. I almost wanted them to run it back. I wanted the Profits to come back in and fight Alpha Academy and then beat Alpha Academy. And then, all right, now we're setting up a fatal four-way for the tag titles at WrestleMania, as WrestleScope says. Yep. I don't think we're going to get this at Fastlane. I don't think it needs to be at Fastlane. But if we get all four of these guys for the tag team titles at WrestleMania, I wouldn't be bad at it. That definitely seems to be what they're leading to.
Yeah, I enjoyed all of this. I thought Profits and Mysterios, that was like a fun matchup. Dominic Mysterio, he seems to be getting better to me. Like every time I see him in the ring, you can see that he's getting more comfortable there. But yeah, the thing that stood out most from both matches was aggressive Otis. Otis, he was violent here. That splash from the second rope, it just felt like he was crushing not only the body of Dominic Mysterio, but his soul. Like it was so much passion in that you don't really see from Otis, that I rather enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace there, and Chad Gable kind of being the mouthpiece works, but this felt very rushed to me. This felt like we didn't need to see both of these matches. Like the Mysterios could have gained something. Like you could have done the post match with the Alphas coming out, doing that whole challenge, getting into the little tussle with the Mysterios, and then set up the matchup for next week with the Alphas and Mysterios and them get the victory there. Them doing this as they did it made me actually feel like, no, we're not getting this four-way at WrestleMania. We're getting it this Sunday, and we're probably going to get it announced on WWE's Twitter account tomorrow.
Maybe, possibly. You could be right. I like Eric's idea here. Make it a TLC match. As long as they keep up with continuity, and just remember that the ladder snaps every time Otis tries to climb it. Just remember that. Don't magically just say, oh, well, we got these reinforced ladders. Nope. You couldn't get it for the Money in the Bank ladder match. You're not getting it for a TLC match at WrestleMania. It's not happening. Keep up with continuity.
They don't need the Big Show ladders anymore, so they can use it for Otis now.
Yes, there you go. There was, I think Dolph Ziggler was an MVP of all of this because the Dirty Dogs were on commentary the whole time. First off, his jokes actually hit tonight. They were pretty funny. And the other thing, though, he had the line of the night, and it was a very throwaway line, but it was all I needed personally. And that's when he said, he and Otis have let bygones be bygones. That's it. Yeah, that's all I needed. It's crap. I don't buy it for a second, but at least he acknowledged the fact that these two were at each other's throats for the better part of a year. And last week they were just all buddy tagging in and out and this, that, and the other thing, and everything's great. And nobody's mentioning the fact that, these two were at each other's throats for an entire year fighting over Mandy Rose. At least Dolph, he kind of insulted him a little bit on commentary tonight. And he said, hey, look, you know what? Fine, whatever. He's being smart now. He's changed his ways. We've decided to let bygones be bygones, and we're going to move on. All I needed. Yeah. All I needed. Not great. It's closure, though. That's all I need.
All we needed was a throwaway line. That's all we needed,
The bar's
WWE.
not that high, folks.
We need the minimum amount of effort from WWE. We are willing to take it after some of the stuff we've gone through. Like, you have conditioned us to be satisfied with the minimal amount of effort. So yes, I did like that part of it. And I did think he did well on commentary. He really praised Otis in the right way and mentioned things that hasn't been mentioned about him being, an amateur wrestler and everything. So I like that type of stuff. I think Dolph added a lot to the two matches that he was commentating for.
A lot of love for Otis in the chats. Ozzy, Amon, sorry. I hope I'm saying that correctly. I'm terrible at reading names on the fly. I always look things up on YouTube. WrestleScope, everybody saying heel Otis is great. And you know what? They're right. I really think Otis is starting to build up that momentum again. Like last year, everybody loved to cheer, but he really suffered when the crowds went away. Like he needed the crowd, and then he suffered. And then they're like, crap, we have the Money in the Bank briefcase on this guy, and we don't know what to do with it. It all worked out in the end. It did, because even though The Miz had it for a week, it worked, and it really made Bobby Lashley. Like, if you don't think it did, and you're sitting here, one of these people who says, look, The Miz is the worst WWE champion of all time, make no mistake about it. Bobby Lashley doesn't have that moment without The Miz. The Miz worked magic. He did exactly what he needed to do, and he got his reward for it because he was a WWE champion. So it all worked out in the end. But if they had this Otis with the Money in the Bank briefcase, that's somebody that I believe would beat somebody. Like all of a sudden, to me, especially if they keep this up and they give it for the next several months, and they just book him as this monster and not just this goof that eats weird shakes and does the worm and this, that, and the other thing, carries around a lunchbox. If he's just going to be this aggressive guy, I could very easily see him beating more marquee opponents, no problem whatsoever. Maybe not Roman Reigns, but not there yet. Not there yet.
Yeah, but this is a good place for him where they can build him up. It helps Chad Gable at the same time because he looks like he's a smart heel now because he's convinced he's tapped into something that Otis didn't have before. So this is helping both guys. So it's nothing but a positive.
All right, let's talk about the two biggest things I think that happened tonight outside of the main events. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yes,
they're gonna have a match at WrestleMania. Like that's exactly what's going to happen. This was set up tonight. Sami Zayn's talking to his documentary crew saying they're going to wrap up filming tonight. KO comes in to try and talk some sense to him. Sami doesn't want to hear it. Kevin Owens asks him who they are, who the conspiracy is, who really has it out for him. Sami can't answer. Tells Kevin to come down and watch his match with King Corbin and just keep a close eye on things, and he'll see what he's talking about. And then WWE, when they are self-aware, it is the best stuff on television.
Yes.
And that hype package for King Corbin and Sami Zayn, the irritating force during the against the unlikable object, Sami Zayn, King Corbin, a match that no one asked for. Unfortunately, there has to be a winner, but thankfully there will be a loser. That was so good. That was arguably the best 20 seconds that WWE has put on television in the lead up to WrestleMania. Like, it's not going to mean hardly anything in the grand scheme of things, but that was great. That was absolutely great. I had tears in my eyes. I went back and watched that 3 times instead of sitting through the commercial break. It was great. I loved it.
It was beautiful. It was I love self-aware WWE and them just trashing on themselves. Like that was great. And the match was a nothing type of match, but between the vignette and the post-match, I was all for this. But yeah, Zayn and Owens, I just have to say, they're one of my favorite tag teams of all time. But it's like WWE fans don't know that. Although I love them going at each other, and this was great because finally, Sami Zayn turned on Kevin Owens.
Yes.
After years and years of Kevin turning on Sami, finally, Sami was able to turn on Kevin. That was very enjoyable. But I'm really hoping this story is going to end with Sami and Kevin becoming a team, a babyface team in the WWE.
Yeah, I think that's the way it needs to go. And Eric was right on. When Sami snapped, that was good stuff tonight.
Yes.
So the match, if you missed it, was nothing special. It was basically Corbin and Sami trying to out heel one another, and then Sami got tied up with the ropes, and the ref told him or he's trying to take the turnbuckle pad off, and the ref told him to stop, and then he ate an end of days, and that was it. Sami goes off and he talks to Kevin Owens, and he's like, "Look, did you see what he said? Did you see this?" And I was like, I saw good officiating. Like, you were being a dumbass. Like, and he was like, and he just snapped it and he lost it. And this was that moment where he walks away and Kevin Owens like turns his head away. And I'm like, okay, now please haluva kick his face off. And then he did. And it was the greatest thing of the night to that point, because you knew right then and there, we know what these two guys are doing at WrestleMania now. And it is for two guys who until that moment had no direction, had no plans. The fans were genuinely worried that these two guys, as well as several other people, and there are still several other people that I'm concerned about don't have a spot at WrestleMania right now. This was very simple, very smart booking on their hands, on WWE's part, because they know all they have to do is just say, oh, okay, yeah, let's have Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, and we're all going to go, yes, do it. And that's it. That's all we want. Like, I'm like 10 times more hyped for WrestleMania now because Sami and Kevin are going to be fighting each other, and Kevin Owens is going to jump off the pirate ship. Like, that's it. That's like that's all I want out of life right now. That's all I wanted. And yes, I think it does need to end with Kevin Owens winning at WrestleMania, Sami Zayn snapping out of this funk that he's in, and then those two finally teaming up and going after whomever the tag team champion. Like, the tag team division is really starting to build up now. But could you imagine adding Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and the Usos to the tag team division right now? All of a sudden, that's cooking with gas. That's too much for a 2-hour show. We're gonna have to send some folks over to Raw.
Yeah, but like it's just adding, like, they're in a good flow right now with the tag team division, but adding Sami and Kevin would just bring a whole nother layer of storytelling, character work to that division. And in a lot of ways, I'm very excited about the fact that, the AEW tag team division, they just added Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley as a team. Right. In a lot of ways, that kind of mirrors what we could see with Sami and Kevin, just two guys who are great characters, great on the mic, coming together, becoming their real life friends. So you're going to see that chemistry on camera, and they're going to very quickly become the most popular babyface tag team in the entire company. So that's what needs to happen. But I'm very excited about the fact that we can potentially have 2 nights of WrestleMania. On one night, having Cesaro versus Seth Rollins. On the next night, having Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn. We need to lay off of some of the negativity about the road to WrestleMania now. Yeah.
I mean, if this is because there were those rumors that came out a few weeks ago that Vince wasn't happy with the card. He wanted to make the show feel bigger. If this was what he had in mind with making the show feel bigger by putting Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on the card instead of like KO versus Goldberg or something like that, that's a good decision.
Yes.
That's just good, smart booking. Like, you had plenty of time to pivot and audible and change things up. Yeah, we're cutting it close for a few people. Like, the person I'm genuinely worried about right now is Bayley.
Absolutely.
Wasn't on the show tonight. Wasn't on the show last week. Billy Kay is another one, but Bayley is somebody who is carried with Sasha. Sasha's getting her match. I thought it would have been a slam dunk to have Bayley be the host of WrestleMania this year. Instead, we are getting the dynamic duo of Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil. Now, I get it. Titus is from Tampa. I think Hogan's from the area too, maybe? I don't know. But they're trying to make it. Maybe that was Vince's idea of making it bigger, brother, is by putting Hogan out there, because, we got to kick off night 1 or night 2 of WrestleMania with the same promo he's been cutting since 1986. Because that's gonna talk to the fans today, bring in the casual viewers.
I mean, yeah, you said a lot of how I feel about. I mean, to wake up or to look at Twitter, and the first thing you see is Hulk Hogan and Titus O'Neil, dynamic duo, hosting WrestleMania. My God, I have not been that surprised by a picture on Twitter since I've seen Donald Trump standing next to Kanye West. That was very surprising to see for me, but I will accept it. This is WrestleMania. It's got to be big, but I agree with you. Bayley was the perfect host for WrestleMania.
It was right there.
And
right there. Reagan agrees.
Nothing going on. It's crazy.
I don't know what she does at this point. Unless you book a Legends match at like the last minute, or you have her do a ding dong hello segment. Like that's still a possibility. You could do a ding dong hello segment where she has a special guest, and maybe, there's somebody who comes out and interrupts, maybe as Eric brings up, maybe a Chelsea Green or somebody like that. Or if she's ready to come back, Becky, again, I know I brought that up. If she's ready to come back, that could be a great last minute addition to the card where Becky comes out and is Bayley's guest, and then they go at it, and all of a sudden Becky's like, "Hey, I'm cleared. I'm ready to go. Let's throw down." And then they give us a 15-minute banger between Bayley and Becky. I wouldn't be mad at that either, but I don't know if that's even feasible. They got to come up with something with Bayley, though. They have to. She's earned a spot on the card somewhere.
So what if she does, like, she has an impromptu open challenge and challenges anyone on either roster, and Rhea Ripley accepts?
Okay, fine, cool, perfect. And I think Ozzy was reading your mind on that one.
Hey,
I'll take an inter-brand matchup. Sure, fine. I think Rhea should squash her.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, not even close. Just kick the ever-loving you-know-what out of her. Maybe she gets in a couple of moves, or maybe she has a ding-dong hello segment, and then it leads to a match. Whatever. Yeah. Who cares? Yeah, if it's Rhea Ripley, great. If it's, I don't know, a returning Becky, if it's a legend, if Beth Phoenix comes out, or somebody from the Hall of Fame, if Molly Holly came out, and we had Molly Holly versus Bayley.
Ooh, I would love that. Sign me up.
Yeah. Sign me up. Something. Anything. Or, you know what? Maybe they finally put her together with Billy or with Carmella, and they get into the women's tag team title match. I don't know. We got 3 weeks. Figure it out. We are already 2 minutes over our allotted time, and we haven't talked about Big E and Apollo Crews yet, so let's get into that.
Yes.
Because my man E was on fire. Like, and I think Apollo, or not Apollo, excuse me, Xavier Woods said it best on Twitter this week. Like, all these people who say E needs to be more serious. And Xavier was like, look, we were telling you want him to be serious. Wait until something serious happens. And something serious happened. And now watch out. Like, E from the moment that promo started, like, all Michael Cole had to do was ask him one question. And he's like, oh, you want to talk about reconciliation? Hell no. And he just dives into it, just builds off of this is going to be biblical. Like, I didn't think it could get better than it's going to go biblical like he did last week. And then he's talking about, I want you to enjoy your next 2 days. I want you to enjoy comfort. I want you to enjoy, full use of your limbs. And by the way, as somebody who busted his shoulder at wrestling practice this week, that is something we take for granted.
Yes.
We really, really do. If you're somebody who has full use of your limbs, which I hope is all of you, when you don't have full range of motion, it sucks. I learned 2 very important lessons this week. 1, not how to take a flapjack, and 2, don't take a move unless you are 100% sure how to do it safely. 2 big key lessons in life, folks. All right, especially if you're going to get into the wrestling ring, because I think I have a partially separated shoulder. Anyway, so Apollo, saying he's gonna, or E is saying he's gonna basically beat Cruz's butt. Apollo comes in and says some stuff. I don't know what he said, because honestly, I'm sitting here listening the whole time, and I'm sitting here, I'm going, I think his accent is different. Did it sound different tonight? Like, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to criticize it or anything. I'm just saying, I'm pointing it out. It sounded different to me, and it's all I could focus on.
Because he legitimately forgot the accent on his first word of the promo. He legitimately forgot. And then he started overdoing it. Like he started dragging out the words to really, emphasize the accent. This was an off week as far as the accent. His promo work, his character work, those are all good. It's the accent and the character that they are allowing him to present right now that is a struggle. That's the one thing. But he's performing pretty well. But yes, I agree with you. That promo, man, the eyes is everything for me. He looks straight down the lens, and it looks like he is about to tear up. And it's not because he's sad. It's not because he's upset. It's because he has so much anger inside of him, so much animosity towards Apollo Crews that it's like building in him, and it's making him flare up. It's making his face all red. It's making him like breathe very heavy. After each word, like you could feel the passion, you could feel the emotion, and that's why Big E has kind of been the MVP of SmackDown the last 2 weeks, between that great promo last week and then this promo here, and then what he did after the promo, just saying, I'm not going to wait anymore. I'm going to come find you. Jumps in a golf cart, and he's just screaming Apollo's name, looking for Apollo. Like he was like the theme song. He was like the beginning of Apollo Crews' theme song, and then eventually finding Apollo, and Apollo looking like he was about to be Sami Guevara, and like saying, hold on here. But Big E, when he finally
Roman Reigns, don't forget,
he could have been Kevin Owens there. But yes, like him, just when Big E got his hands on Apollo Crews, like you just felt like, man, this feels like a WrestleMania rivalry too. Like the Seth storyline with Cesaro, and the Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Edge. These are rivalries that feel like WrestleMania. Like SmackDown's WrestleMania side feels like it's finally getting some momentum. And I just feel like, especially after this beatdown here, the right decision. I predicted it on the preview earlier. I'll predict it here. Apollo Crews wins the Intercontinental Championship on Sunday to really set up the rivalry, because that is the next thing that needs to happen to really get Big E to another level of anger.
No, I think he just needs to decimate Apollo Crews. Like, so that's it. Like, that's what I want. I would hope that they make this like an empty stadium match or a Falls Count Anywhere or something like that. Frankly, because I think it would be great to watch these two just beat the hell out of each other all across Tropicana Field, and that could get very, very interesting. But I don't want to see a wrestling match on Sunday between these two. The way that this has been built and the way that E is treating this, if that bell rings and then they just go in there and they lock up with each other, that's going to kill everything. These two just need to fight. No chain wrestling, no locking up, no nothing. Just give me a solid 7-8 minute sprint of these two just beating the hell out of each other. And I'm sorry. I think E absolutely needs to come out on top in this one.
I think Apollo takes advantage of E's emotions, and he becomes the new Intercontinental Champion on Sunday.
I wouldn't. No, I'd hate it. I'd absolutely hate it. We are way over on our time. I think I got to everything. I think somehow I managed to get to the entire 2-hour show, even with our BS. All right.
Very well done.
I had more comments today. We got a lot of them. I really appreciate it, guys. Make sure to join us again next week, next Friday, where we will be officially now on the road to WrestleMania. Feels Finally. Like we say this, but a lot of stops along the way. This is the last one. We need like a sign at Fastlane that says last stop until whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's we'll see. I think Fastlane's going to be a good show. Yeah. I think it's going to be a good show because every single time WWE has one of these pay-per-views where there's like no hype around it whatsoever, it ends up being one of the best shows that they put on in the entire year. Undersell and over-deliver That's how you got to get through life. We'll talk to you guys next week. We appreciate it. And yeah, have a great